Bodybuilding for busy ladies. First, the bad news. Your workout matters a lot. Without exercise, our body degenerates, the same way that a horse would degenerate if it was locked in its stall all its life. Fitness is the #1 formula for body health and longevity. Furthermore, you will often hear people say,
I can't work out as hard as when I was younger. I'm not as strong and flexible, and my body always hurt.
well, like that horse, without proper exercise, we get deformed and degenerate. We are animals. We have to move and race and adventure and hike and jog. It's not that we get old and inflexible. It's that no exercise or crappy exercise makes us old and inflexible. As you can probably already tell just from experience, everything you know about bodybuilding is backwards or wrong. Fundamentally, bodybuilding is jogging with weights. Once you are able to jog for 1 hour with 3 pounds per hand, you can mix in 5-pound dumbbells and let your body adapt. That increase in weight is what gives you larger muscle. If you don't increase, you will tone your existing muscle, eventually entering a maintenance mode where you don't really lose muscle mass. But listen, it's only fundamentally jogging. What you really need to do is flex and turn to the beat of music, which is to say, dance. Dance with dumbbells. When you move with dumbbells, it's a full body exercise. If you listen to the advice about proper posture, then dumbbells become a 2 muscle or 4 or 6 muscle exercise, and that's nothing. We have something like 650 skeletal muscles. We have to dance with dumbbells. It's exactly the same as the 1980s aerobics workouts, though they did not emphasize increasing the dumbbell weight. They were just burning fat and maintaining what they already had. If they kept lifting higher and higher, they would slowly slow down and start lifting up to 25 pounds per hand, which would make them bodybuilders. Now, if you compare this to what's happening in the modern gym, a person will lift 3 times for 20 seconds each. So that's a minute-long workout. The aerobics exercise is 60 minutes. 60 seconds versus 60 minutes is a huge difference, and you can see how the first isn't going to do much, and the second will ask your body to adapt to handle the weight, and then some, at which point you can lift heavier. Aerobics are wonderfully illustrative. That full body flexing motion is actually what keeps your full body young. And you never start with aerobics. They all started by slowly learning to jog for an hour, then adding dumbbells, and then starting up their aerobics routine. Again, that notion of standing still while lifting heavy is just a silly myth and probably really bad on your back. When jogging, you're really just carrying dumbbells in your hands. So you're not really getting a truly full workout. And you can't go up too much in weight because then you'll just end up falling. So when you come to the gym and start twisting and turning or dancing, you have more options for a higher range exercise, such as bicep curls, which really sways your whole body when you're doing it fast, or lifting up and down above your head, which is a much broader exercise than just carrying the dumbbells, and I suspect it actually works your abdominal muscles as well, but it seems to be mostly centered on shoulders. I want to underline that it's the addition of dancing that turns these exercises into powerful full-body workouts, as you are always trying to stabilize. It's tough, especially because as soon as you can, you go up a little bit higher in dumbbell weight. I came up with a little bit of instruction for you so that it is easier to remember all this. Lift light, but not so light that you can lift more, and never, ever, ever so heavy that you must stop. That will ruin your exercise. I suspect that what boys think is muscle failure, where they can't lift anymore and have to rest, is actually them cutting off their circulation with weights that are just way too heavy, that they aren't adapted for lifting. So that generic 10 lifts in 3 sets is not only just about a minute-long workout, but also every set ends prematurely with cutting off their circulation, or something like it. It's not muscle failure. Our muscles don't fail like that. You should move up by no more than 2.5 pounds in dumbbell weight per hand. The 5-pound gap between dumbbells that we see almost everywhere is impossible to cover. If you don't have a lady or aerobic dumbbell rack, you will need to add 2.5-pound wrist weights so that you don't end up jumping by 5 pounds, which is ridiculous, but instead take that intermediate step of moving from 5 to 7.5 and then 10. Please do not jump from 5-pound dumbbells to 10-pound dumbbells. That is just too much weight to cover, and you're not going to be able to do it for long enough. It may even be dangerous because your body's not used to adding 10 pounds to an hour-long workout. Just use wrist weights. Remember, you must never stop during your exercise. That would mean that you are lifting way too heavy or moving way too fast. And yes, only dumbbells work, and the treadmill initially, but you should really jog outside because the weather is more beautiful, it's often cooler outside, there are interesting things happening, the oxygen is nice and crisp, especially if you run in the morning. It is just so much better outside that you should do your jogging there. As to the rest of the machines at the gym, they are not useless. They are for the people who have already hurt their bodies and are trying to make their way back. It's definitely doable to become really flexible again, but it's going to cause a lot of discomfort. So starting off with the sitting machines is a pretty good deal for someone who's always in pain. But you should view those machines as a warning. That is exactly where you're going to end up past your middle age. If your exercises do not include twisting and turning with pretty light dumbbells. Not so light that you can lift more, so it's still a very challenging weight for your body, but it's not the kind of weight that will ever hurt you or tear a muscle. Finally, perhaps the most important piece of information. Use music to induce a dance trance. You enter the dance trance by lifting to the beats of your songs, by synchronizing your motion with the music. You will need slower songs at first. You will need to move away from all the distractions, otherwise you will get kicked out from the dance trance. Your workout schedule is what you can handle, but you have to be wise about it. You can trust that your body will always adapt to your challenges and give you a little bit more than what you need. That is where you can start mixing in the heavier dumbbells. A note on aesthetics. Please, this is a really powerful exercise. It works really fast. Do not overdo it. The world is scary as it is. The last thing it needs is monster muscle beast ladies. Don't get too buff.